This is the FitnessFest podcast, highlighting health and fitness professionals across the globe and giving you the tools for growth. Let's start the show.
Hello, this is Janice Jakes, and I am the owner and founder of the FitnessFest Conference and Expo. Welcome to the FitnessFest podcast, a podcast for instructors and trainers who either already have fitness as their career or are looking for innovative ways to make fitness their career or wellness their career because it's such a rewarding field. So we have lots of interviewees who have very different paths, and we want to talk about their journeys and share this information and their stories with you. Today, I am super stoked to have Stephanie Kreun with us today. Stephanie and I have been chatting about how long have we known each other, and neither of us remember, but it's probably at least 15 years. And Stephanie reminded me of how we met, and I, forgot that. You said something about your kids were in swim lessons, and I found out you taught cycle, and I grabbed you, and because I was the fitness coordinator at Fitness Forum Health Club in Chandler, and I needed a cycle instructor, immediately hired her to teach cycle at our Chandler studio, and the rest, as they say, is history. But so she was and is an amazing cycle instructor. But more than that, of course, is her nutrition counseling. She's a nutrition consultant, and her story about where she came from and why she chose this path is quite amazing. Since then, Stephanie and I have done lots of projects with the Native Americans. She's done an amazing job with the Native Americans on diabetes and nutrition weekends, and also the Salt River and Gila. We always ask her to be a speaker at the Native events, and of course at FitnessFest as well, because in Fort Mojave too. So her workshops, her seminars on nutrition and biohacking are innovative, and she's just a wealth of information. For me personally, she is my go-to doctor. I call her for sleep insomnia, for my daughter's health issues, for nutrition, for vitamin supplements. She just is a wealth of information. And so I'd like Stephanie now, take it away. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. That was quite a lovely introduction. And I am so honored to be here and be a part of this podcast. And yeah, like Janice said, we met around 15 years ago, putting my kids in swim lessons. And when I found out she was a coordinator, I thought, well, I teach cycle and I need another place to hit up and start teaching. And what Janice has done for me over the years has been absolutely amazing. One thing that she's done is she's always believed in me. And that has been just that's been so important to me, because I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but do you all believe in yourself? Like, do you all believe how amazing you are on a daily basis? I don't think that I always saw that. And she saw something in me. And that's been truly an honor just to be able to journey through life and have her walk alongside of me, and for her to give me opportunities to do things out in the world that just show that my passion was also fulfilling a need. I didn't realize that, you don't realize what you know is not what everybody else knows, because it's what you know, right? And so I would just live life going, not everybody knows what I know. Come on, I don't have anything special. And that wasn't truth. And there is a lot of things that I've journeyed through the years that I've learned, and not always the easy way. I've learned the hard way, many things. And I began to become an advocate for health and wellness and nutrition because of the journey that was placed in my home and in my world. And if on a daily basis, I wake up and ask just to serve. I just want to serve people in this world with the knowledge that I have and the passion that I have. And I do it by walking alongside of people and helping people to believe in themselves, just like Janice did for me. So it's been fun. It's been really fun to be able to lock arms with Janice and with FitnessFest and be able to deliver a product that I'm super proud of.
Well, that's awesome stuff. So let's talk. We want to talk about, like you said, it was dropped into your lap, literally, your son, your adopted son. It's Jeremiah, right?
Yes.
And so we'll talk about that. But I first want to touch on, I don't know if, I think you were not working in this industry when I met you, but you were a pharmaceutical rep. And of course, anyone who knows a pharmaceutical rep makes big bucks, right? But she ditched that. And anyone who just teaches fitness, not that that's all you do right now because you don't, but who teaches fitness knows it's super hard to make bucks, period, in this industry, but we do it because we love it. So tell us more about when you were a pharmaceutical rep and how you said, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, it's funny, you guys, like you just live life, like I was just kind of saying, and it's just your everyday and it just is what it is. And now that I look back on what was placed in my life and the journey that I walked, the education that I received and the job that I had, it was all in preparation for what was to come. And so just a background of what my degree is in, it's exercise science and nutrition. And as we know, like Janice just said, we do it because we love it, but it's not great at paying the bills, right? So I was hit with that right after college with a salaried position at a big health and wellness center in the suburbs of Chicago. And that was not great money. But I showed up every day, worked those long days, total amount of hours that was not compensated well. And that's what I did for a couple of years. And I was recruited to do pharmaceutical sales, which honestly was super young and I didn't know what that was. But when they dropped the salary in front of me, I was like, heck yes, let's go. Let's do this. And I drank the Kool-Aid, right? I was like, yeah, this is the way you do it. You just go out and you talk to this specialist and you give people medication when their body is in a chronic state of illness. And that's what I promoted. And I was specifically in the field of gastroenterology, which was an incredibly prominent field. There's a ton of business in that field. I did incredibly well. It was expanding here in Arizona. And at the time, I was not loving Chicago. Let's just be real. It's flipping cold. And I was done with the cold weather. So I flew out to Arizona and I interviewed with the manager and I was able just to slide over into a position here in Arizona. So in total, I worked in the field of gastroenterology for 15 years. And again, incredibly lucrative. So here's what happened though. I became a mom and actually the story started a little bit early, even before Jeremiah, in that my oldest, who's now 15, at the age of 2 was presenting with asthmatic symptoms. And I thought this is really weird. Like why is he going through all of these struggles? And so of course, like any other mom would do, you take him to the doctor and medication was thrown at him. And he ended up being on a steroid. And at one point in time, I remember buckling him into this seat and he punched me. And this is my sweet, kind, loving little boy who just loved his mama, who just turned on me. And I thought, what is happening? But knowing what I know about pharmaceuticals, I know there's side effects, right? So I really began to dig into that. And I thought, this is not okay. And I'm definitely a person that asks why a lot. And so I wanted to find out, why is he having these symptoms? And what I found out was what I was feeding my child could be good for someone else, but it was literally his poison. And his asthma was really presenting itself because he has an allergy to dairy. And so what it was doing was building up mucus, it was presenting as a respiratory issue, right? But that's not really what it was. So we did a ton of removal of foods and absolutely dairy for sure, but other foods as well. And really started on a journey to heal his little body. And within months, we had him off of his steroids and his medications. And that was the day that I went, wow, this is not okay, what I'm doing every day out in the world, because I just experienced something different. And then the next thing that happened was I was sitting with a gastroenterologist. We were launching a new drug for constipation. And the gastroenterologist looked at me and said, Steph, if your mom came in and presented with all of the symptoms that you say I should prescribe this drug for, would you recommend that drug? And it was a moment, right, where I had to go, do I sell my product or do I own my truth? And I decided to own my truth. And I said, no, that is not what I would do. But what it did inside of me is that it ignited here's what I would do. And it turned it on inside of me. And I thought, this is not my truth. This is not what I can do. And I have to go speak my truth. And I need to do it out in the world because I've already done it in my family. And I call them the golden handcuffs, you guys, because like Janice said, the money is so good in pharmaceuticals. And all of a sudden I felt like I was handcuffed because I wasn't living my dream. I wasn't doing what I felt like I was born to do. But the golden handcuffs were the gold was good. So it presented handcuffs. But I didn't actually make that decision on my own. In 2010, Pharmaceuticals went through massive downsizing and mergers, and our company split, and the company that took over laid off 1,500 of us, and I was in the Central Phoenix area. So it really was just decided for me that was no longer what I was going to do. And as all of my other friends and counterparts were finding jobs in other pharmaceutical companies, I really stepped back and said, this is an opportunity for me to go and now live my passion and my dream. So in 2010, I stepped away.
That's so cool. And then you continued to get some education. What was the school you went to in Tempe?
Yes. So then wanting to go back to do nutrition, I decided that I wanted to further my education. So I attended the Southwestern Institute of Holistic Arts in Tempe. And I started with their certificate of nutrition program, but then they expanded into a diploma, and it's actually called a holistic wellness practitioner. And so I went back for additional schooling for that, which took several years. And majority of it was online. It's incredibly comprehensive, incredibly deep, and really did so many aspects of nutrition. I absolutely loved it. And it made me a better person, and it made me a better consultant, through the education and the knowledge that I gained. Yes.
Okay, cool. So, and I know there's a lot of other steps along the way. So what other, you just seem so knowledgeable. Whenever I ask you something, you always know. You never even have to make it up like I do. Or look online, you already know it. So do you read, do you listen to podcasts? What other resources do you use to acquire your knowledge and your information?
So I think that it all comes through, not all. Yes, I do a ton of education. I do listen to podcasts. I do a lot of research, but a lot of it has been hands-on. Mm-hmm. It's really been, and that's what Janice had mentioned in the beginning, was in 2010 when I experienced the layoff and decided to stay home and further my education. The drop in my lap was a baby that was delivered, and not delivered by me, a baby that was brought to us. So we decided to do adoption, and we fostered for a little while. And then fell in love day one with my little Jeremiah. And when he came home, he was 5 months old and incredibly unhealthy. We really didn't know what we had. I really don't think you ever do, right? Whether it be a biological child or an adoption, you don't know what's in store for you. But we really did not know what his background was. I just know that I had a lot of people coming in my home because we needed help. This kiddo cried night and day. I just thought it was attachment. He just didn't know me. So I wore him all the time. I had incredible back pain from that because he was fat. He was super unhealthy. He wasn't having regular bowel movements. There's a lot there. Over the years, he's now 9. And I can tell you that I never knew. I call myself, actually, when I walk into a school, the girl with high heels and lipstick, and she is a pit bull walking in because I've learned to fight. I've learned to fight because of people just not understanding my kiddo. And I feel passionate about being a voice. I'm a voice from all of my kids, but I'm really a voice for this child because he needs to be understood. And what I understood first and foremost is that his body needed to heal because what he experienced in utero was something that no one should experience, but he had no control over that. And his body was literally full of toxins. And neurologically, he wasn't able to, he just didn't have the same opportunities coming into the world that majority of us have. And so we had to do a lot of detoxifying of his body, and we needed to regulate him as best as we possibly could. And I had no idea how to do this. All I knew is that foods can heal. The body is a miracle. And when given exactly what it needs, it can repair and we can become the best version of who we were created to be. And that was my goal, was to get my son to be the best he could possibly be. And that's been hours and hours of work. It's been hours of research. It's been a lot of driving and a lot of money and time spent on a lot of, holistic therapies, but at home, I can tell you, we have therapy swings. We have lots of things going on in our home, but I can tell you that he is receiving the best nutrition possible. And when we started that right away, along with supplementation, we were able to help heal his body. Now he's 9, and I can tell you that even at 5, when he started school and was in kindergarten, I was still very lost on what to do. And I just needed to get him thriving. And he did start medication, and he was on 4 medications. And at 9, he's now on 1 medication. And a lot of that's been through, of course, still food and supplementation as well. Like Janice had mentioned, biohacking and really getting into the systems. And, something that's been amazing for him has been NRF2 activation and just activating some pathways in his body and activating his brain, because his brain was not functioning at its best level. So that's been our journey. And so to answer your question on how I have gathered all my information, it's really been hands-on. It's been putting my feet to the ground and doing the work and trial and error.
That's awesome. I mean, being a mom, being a parent is the most important job we can have. And I've never seen anyone put so much energy and effort into their children and child that you have, because I've, followed your journey. And I'd like you to tell the audience, in case they don't know what biohacking is. And I believe you might be doing that seminar at FitnessFest 2020, if we can get her application in there. So Stephanie will be speaking at FitnessFest April 17th through the 19th. And she always has just her sessions are always packed, whether it be gut health or holistic nutrition. We did biohacking. You talked about that when we were in Fort Mojave in March. And I think that might be one of her topics. But for those of our audience who don't know what biohacking is, can you just tell us in a few words, or several words, whatever, what that means?
Yeah. So biohacking is so super cool. And it's really has a lot of hype right now in the wellness industry. And the reason why is because we do have control. And that's what biohacking is all about. It's about taking control over our systems in our body and owning our own biology. So there's the study of nutrigenomics, and that is really using nutrition to help our gene expression. I can tell you, for the last 6 years, I have worked in a clinical setting, and I've worked side by side with internal medicine and family practice physicians, very conventional mindset. And then a couple of years ago, I did leave that setting and went into more of a holistic setting where definitely they went more supplementation, food first, and then medication if they had to. And that was definitely aligning better with me. But in that process, what I was able to see is the mindset of so many people. So these people are going to be your clients. These are people sitting in your classrooms. These are people showing up for your exercise classes. And a lot of these people, when I would say to them, your A1C is elevated, your fasting blood sugar is elevated. Listen, we need to make some changes with your diet because right now you're on the path of diabetes. And 9 times out of 10, the person would look at me and say, well, of course I am. My mom had diabetes and my dad had diabetes. And I would say, my response is, were you born with diabetes? No. Then that means the environment that has been created inside of your body has triggered that gene to turn on. And here's what we know. When we change that environment in our body and in our surroundings, that gene can also be triggered off. And so that's really what nutrigenomics is about, is taking nutrition and changing the expression of our genes. Because what we know is that more than 90% of our genes can be turned on and off and can change. Now, to me, that's freaking exciting because that means you don't have to own that's because my mom had this and my dad had this. Is there a genetic component? Yes, that's what genes are. But we do have an opportunity to change how they are expressing themselves. And so really that's what biohacking is about. And there's lots of different ways that you can bring biohacking into your life to help that process. Sleep, like what kind of hacks do I have to make my sleep better? And that's what's exciting because there's great information and great tools that we have. I call it my toolbox. When I was healing my son, people say, what was the one thing? Well, there were things that made a huge impact in his life, but I can tell you that it's all the tools that I used in my toolbox. Actually, this makes me think of a text message I got yesterday. I had stem cells put in my knee. So the question was, I also use NRF2 activation to reduce inflammation in my body. That was the first thing. I've had 2 knee surgeries and I have a torn meniscus currently right now. And I was having some pain. The doctor said to me, you need a knee replacement, but your insurance won't pay for it yet. So we just need to buy time. I thought, this is crazy. I'm 44 years old. I'm buying time. At the time I was 42 actually. So I thought, how can I reduce inflammation? I was already eating a very clean diet. The place that I was working at was using NRF2 activation. So I thought, let me try it. It reduces inflammation. So I started that. It did help reduce the swelling in my knee. Next step is I did stem cells. That helped as well. Next step is I did some cool water therapy, which has been helpful. I also lay on a mat, which helps reduce cellular inflammation. There's lots of tools so the message yesterday was, out of 3 things, which one helped you the most? I don't know. I cannot tell you that. I can tell you that all of these tools in my toolbox helped me to heal. So I cannot ever say to you, it's just this one thing, but I can say that we have lots of opportunities to bring things into our life to allow our body to heal, repair, and again, be our best.
Great stuff. I love it. So what are you, what's your day to day right now? And these are two-parter. And what's your goal and your vision? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but what's your what are you doing now more on a daily, maybe not daily, but weekly basis?
Truth? Going crazy? Okay, so I'm the mom of 3 boys, right? 15, 14, and 9. My 9-year-old is special needs. It's a little chaotic. Structuring my day has been a struggle for me because I have been 6 months out from being under the wings of physicians and meeting their patients' needs through nutrition every day. I decided to step away from that and really venture on my own. And what does that look like? So I take clients one-on-one. I have had to make some hard decisions. I tend to be a yes person. I want to serve you. I will come to you. And I've had to realize that that's not serving me. And that's not serving my family. And so it's been a beautiful opportunity for me to sit and go, wow, technology is amazing. I mean, look what we're doing right now, having this conversation with you. How can I also utilize that to reach more people? And so I have some wonderful providers that I used to work with that still refer their patients over when they need nutrition. And so I will do one-on-ones via Zoom. I do a lot of consulting via Zoom. And then everything's really online. I send you information. We dialogue that way. Maybe every couple of weeks we meet via Zoom. But I have to tell you, my biggest passion is really just to stand up in front of groups of people and deliver a message. And through that message is education. And I fully believe that education gives you power. And so when you're properly educated by somebody who knows that you can do this, and I always deliver that I believe in you and I know you can do this, you have to want it inside of you. And when you make that choice because you want something and you desire it so bad and it's to be different and live differently, then I want to be your cheerleader. I want to be there to help you and support you. But I do really love to be in front of groups of people. And so that is where I'm starting to take my business, if you will, is I want to go more into a corporate setting and stand in front of the executive sitters, where I just read yesterday that sitting is one of our biggest diseases, right? It's causing the obesity rates to rise. I want to sit in front of those people and deliver this message. And then I also love to be out in the community. So I just did a class last night, actually, at a community center. And so I'm just reaching out, right? I'm reaching out to people who have clients that are not being served nutritionally and who have room. So bringing them together and giving a message. So the message last night, we specifically talked about setting up our day for success, for eating and a meal plan and how to prep and how to increase omega-3s through our diet. So I made everybody a chia seed pudding, and nobody knew what that was, which blows my mind. Everybody knows what chia seeds are, right? And so this little easy recipe, this little easy treat that can be brought into their life that increases fiber, increases omega-3, and it sits right there in their fridge. It's a quick grab and go, because you hear all the time, I don't have time. Well, what if I give you some tools on the front end that sets up your fridge so you're a grab and go all week long and you have success? So that's really where my business is going, and that's my heart and passion at this point in time.
Great. Yeah. You're not going to like this question, because I know you struggle with it, as so do I. Marketing. How do you approach marketing in your business? Now, I'm going to say, before you say anything, that I'm going to assume that word of mouth is, I could get you 5,000 clients because I know personally how amazing you are and what a genius you are. I just was working out with this girl, Jen is her name, and she was saying, yeah, I'm like super fatigued at the end of the day. And I asked her about her vitamins. She goes, yeah, I take this and that, but I don't know if it's working. And she goes, I guess it's just normal because I had 2 girls. And I said, well, you know what? I'm 64 and I have pretty dang busy days. I don't take care of little kids, so I know that's tiring. I said, but I'm not fatigued. So I think there's something up. She goes, well, what should I do? I go, call Stephanie Kreun. That's what I said. So anyway, so what's your approach on marketing? I know that word of mouth is big. And like you mentioned, you probably get some clients from the clinic perhaps, but I know that we'll talk about it next, but you've got an idea for some online stuff going on. But
yeah. So, Janice just brought up my demon, which is marketing. I remember, leaving again, like I said, under the wings of working for physicians. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to blow this up. We're just going to go. And then I realized oh, this is really a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be. Marketing's not what I know. Definitely word of mouth is how I get clients and keep clients. I'm working with this wonderful client that within 6 months has brought her A1C down from 8 to 6. And again, when she says thank you, I say, don't thank me, thank you for doing what I've asked of you, right? Because I know nutrition works, but it only works if you say yes to it. And so it really is empowering people on the other side to do the work. So she's happy for me, but I'm so freaking proud of her. I can't even take it. And it was because she said yes and she stepped into it and didn't let those hard things get in her way. She did the work. So she sends me a message on Saturday and says, my daughter works for fill in the blank, and she's can't believe how well I'm doing, and she's raving about you. Can I give your name? So yes, that's definitely how I'm growing, is through people telling people. It's networking, right? That's a great way. And then I'm trying to learn about branding and branding yourself. And I've actually purchased a couple of courses, and I'm online and I'm being a student and I'm learning how to brand myself. I will say that stepping out, just like my clients do, and I ask them to trust me, I now need to trust me and step into that and be able to be authentic. This actually is a challenging podcast for me a little bit, because I've gotten better over the years at sharing my story, but I was very protective over my story and over my child and the struggles. But then I realized that by being protected, I'm not allowing myself to serve and bless others. And when I really stepped into being authentic, being transparent, and allowing my story to help other children and to help other families in the world, that I got better. I got better with saying yes to opportunities such as this. And so now I do say yes to opportunities that come my way. But to go back to your question of marketing, it is honestly a very, very big struggle of mine. I have been fortunate to have several people come into my life that have ideas, and I love their way of marketing. I will say it does take a lot of creating of content on my end. And I will say that my strength is that I'm a big vision person. My weakness is taking all of those steps to get there to your goal and to get there to your dream. So I'm working on surrounding myself with people whose strengths are my weaknesses. And hopefully I can do the same for them, because I have a ton of energy and a lot of dreams and a lot of ideas, and just need to surround myself with people that can help with all those little baby steps. Yeah.
That's great. You seem to have, I think so many of us who are trying to get ourselves more out there, whatever way we're trying to get ourselves out there, struggle. Some people are, I don't think anyone's natural at it, but so many of us are, some are better than others, but we struggle with that in my company. And just, creating that content and, Instagram and Facebook and just being, regularly doing it. But I notice when you do post on Facebook, you have a lot of followers. You have a lot of people who interact with you back and forth, and no one wants to talk back to me. So it's so you're saying something that, they say, what do they want to hear? What's in it for them? And so whatever you're saying, when I notice your posts, people seem to be reacting and interacting. So I'd say that good. Are you on Instagram as well?
I am on Instagram as Steph Kreun. I will say that posting on Instagram has not been my strength as well. And I do struggle with content, and,
but you've got so much of it.
I do. And so it's just really putting it into place and putting it out there. And so that is one of my goals. We have 4 months left of the year. And so I'm publicly speaking. It is my goal to step up my game on Instagram.
So tell everybody where they can find you, and make sure I would say, let's spell your name for the not FitnessFest. Sorry, that's me. But you're definitely going to come see Stephanie at FitnessFest, of course. But Instagram, Facebook, and any place, a website. I know that you're working on your website, but you do have a website. So tell us where we can find you, because people are going to want to. I know that.
Okay. Thank you for that opportunity. So my business name is Simply Healthy Nutrition. And it's funny how that actually came up. It was at the place that I was teaching at for Janice. And you guys know, you become such great friends with people that take your classes. And I remember it was about 5 years ago when I was making the website and I said, I need a name. And one of the members said, well, make it simple. And I was like, yes, like Simply Healthy. And so that's how it came up. It's Simply Healthy Nutrition, where nutrition can be simple is kind of my tagline, right? So simplyhealthynutrition.com. And on Facebook, I'm Stephanie Kreun. And so Stephanie is spelled Stephanie. And Kreun, that will get you every time.
Yep, me too. I always have to think about it.
It's Kreun, the E before the U. Even I have to think about it after 18 years. And on Instagram, I'm Steph Kreun, Kreun. And I do have a page on Facebook. And so if you like that page and follow, that's where I am posting all of my nutrition content. My personal Facebook page, I love connecting with people on it. It's really just about my family. It's not a lot because, again, I'm still working through that protection, authentic place in my life. But really all of my content for nutrition is on my page. So if you go to Stephanie Kreun, then you can see that my page is there on the left side and you can like that. And then I'll start popping up on your feed too. And that would be great. And say hi and connect because I love meeting like-minded people.
Awesome. Well, this has been a great chat with you, Stephanie. It's always great to get together. We always have so much to share. And I hope, I know everyone has enjoyed our chat. And we'll be Stephanie Kreun and FitnessFest are signing off. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.